Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, listening to K4CO Radio. It is Thursday and a warm 80 degrees today. My goodness, I am soaking it up, I have to admit, because next week it's going to be in the 60s, so I'm breathing through it. It'll be fine. Halloween is coming. I can feel it, but I hope you all are outside and enjoying. For those of you that are inside, maybe go out and get some sun rays in with you. So we have an amazing interview with us again today. I'm so excited for this one. Again, if you are listening on K4CO Radio, definitely thank you for tuning in. And if you can, tune into social media as well. We are live on our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We love it with people chiming in with interviews, because we're super interactive. And of course, I have Mr. Joshua here with me. Hi.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Colorado. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm really looking forward to next week, so that's me.
I know it. You like the cooler days.
I do.
I like the 70s. I don't want the snow. Snow needs to stay in the mountains. I don't want to drive in it. That's my biggest culprit.
Fair enough. There you go.
So, yes. Well, without further ado, we had the counterpart here too. So a huge shout out to Miss Ann Marlin, because I just adore you, Ann, if you're listening. You're one of my most favorite people on planet Earth. And we have Derek Marlin. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So you are the CEO of Elevation.
Yes.
And it's just Elevation. I like that you said it's just like Nike. It's like Elevation standing on its own.
Yeah, I know that's kind of like super broad and probably audacious that I shouldn't compare our small business to Nike, but
absolutely
we were Elevation Investment Properties, and it was like there's so much Elevation stuff around town now, obviously, that we just kind of tried to take the Nike route and shorten it. So yeah, it's just Elevation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it is investment properties,
yes.
essentially. And for those of you that have your computer in front of you, you can go on to the website. So it's elevationinvest.com. And you can also call 720-545-0490. And which is super cool. He does his own podcast, which is Raising the Flipping Bar. Super fun podcast.
We're not FCC. Should we? No. Okay.
No, it legitimately is Raising the Flipping Bar.
Right. Yeah, that's my PG version. I was born in New Jersey and came from a very early learning how to swear family. So I was like, there's a different F word that you can use. But I was like, no, we're going to use flipping. So it's the PG version. It's Raising the Flipping Bar.
I like it. Yeah. And I love that you do your own podcast once a week.
Thanks.
And it's super fun.
Yeah.
I listened to the music beforehand, and I was like, heck yeah, you have this little
it's
rap.
A good intro.
Yeah, it is. And you said that's an employee of yours.
Yeah, it's one of our sales executives, and he's a rapper as his, I don't even want to say side hustle. He's really passionate about it and is really talented. And we had the regular music, if you will, and I was like, let's just do it. And so that's our intro and outro, and our social clips and all that stuff is like custom rap.
That's very
well. You got to make
fun.
sure that he sends some songs into us. I mean,
I will actually.
Rotation is Colorado musicians. So,
I will. I totally will. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
And if you're listening on our radio station, make sure you can also go to one of our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that fun stuff, and see our beautiful faces and comment if you have a question. And our producer will let us know.
For sure. You and Ann are involved in so many different aspects. So, I mean, it is great to get involved. You guys are, of course, based in Inglewood, but truly there is so much Colorado community that you all do. So definitely go check out Elevation. I don't know. Do you want to start with that? Because I want to start with sports. Can I be greedy?
Yeah, go wherever you want. I can. I'm excited to be on this side of the mic because I just recorded 2 episodes of Raising the Flipping Bar this morning. So like this is more chill for me. So I'll go wherever you want me to go.
I love it. Okay.
And we've had some Bengals fans in here and Kansas City fans, which I know it's horrible.
No, Joe, no. Yes. Okay. So I would love to start with the sports side because that has been a big passion of yours.
Yes.
And of course, your job for a couple decades. So tell us about being involved in sports and the Broncos and all the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. I'll give you the scoop. Yeah, I was very, very fortunate. I went to, Ann and I actually met at college at Montana State University in Bozeman. And I wanted to go there because I told my parents it was to get a business degree, but it was really to ski and have fun. And then, yes, there was a business degree, which is great. And then I kind of changed passions. Originally, it was to go into finance. My whole family are Wall Street folks from back east. And I was like, I want to do something different. And I have a passion for sports. I grew up playing football. and love sports. And then I was like, oh shoot, I'm at the wrong school. So I loved MSU, but there was just like I think our high school football team. I moved to Texas. I lived in Colorado for a while, moved to Texas, but I think our high school team could have beat the Fighting Bobcats at the time in the early '90s. So not a big sports program. So I got my MBA in sports management at the University of Florida in Gainesville. So I'm a Gator as well. And then that helped me get my foot in the door in sports. And I was just really lucky. And halfway through graduate school, I did a research project and I called every marketing director in the NFL because I wanted to work in the league and did my project. But then I selfishly kind of fibbed and I was like, I'm doing a project. And I just did 31 projects. And I talked to everybody. And then one of the guys actually said, hey, we're not hiring in the Broncos marketing department, but it was 1 year after the current stadium had just opened. And they said, we have an opening in the premium seating department, so selling luxury suites and club seats. So I got lucky. I applied, flew out the next weekend and interviewed, got the job. Told Ann, because we were married, I was like the only dude that was married in graduate school, so that was funny. I was like, good news, we're out of Gainesville. We were there for 9 months. Got in a car, moved back, and came to Denver and started with the Broncos in 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And premium suite sales.
Yeah, started in suite sales because back then they had, new luxury suites, new club level seats. So sold all those, did that for 2 years, and then jumped over to the corporate marketing side. So did corporate sponsorships and worked with Nikes and the State Farms and but also local companies like Breaks Plus and different local Colorado companies, and did that for 4 more seasons. So 6 seasons with the Broncos, and then jumped over to sports marketing side too. So a couple different things.
Oh, that's cool. You got to see lots of different angles of the industry.
Yeah.
Is there one that I want to say was more fun, but that stands out to you that really was like, oh, this is my sweet spot?
Yeah, when I moved to the marketing side, that was kind of my bread and butter because it was not only my degree, I've just always been a salesperson from when I was a kid, always hustling and doing businesses. So I still sell today. Obviously, I love to sell. So doing large corporate sponsorships was awesome. And then having a football background was really fun. Not to say my coworkers who didn't play football weren't great at their jobs, but I was able to really kind of separate not being a fanboy with the players, because that's obviously a big no-no and it's not professional.
Right.
But I could talk their talk. And so it helped me, ironically, land endorsements for my clients. So when it was like, oh, State Farm wanted to hire John Lynch at the time or Jake Plummer or whatever, when I was there, we could get deals cut. So that was really fun. And we got to travel with the team and do really fun stuff. So I was really lucky for 6 years of having like the dream job, dream team. I'm still a Broncos fan. We had season tickets in the 80s when my family lived here. So like we're born and bred Broncos fans.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Josh and I both are natives.
Nice.
Been a Bronco fan, man. The times that I screamed "Go, Mr. Elway," I can't even count.
Yeah.
Big, huge Elway and Bronco fan, of
too.
course, and absolutely love them. Excited to see what Bo Nix is going to do.
Yeah.
Second season, he's looking pretty good.
We're still yelling at the TV a little bit, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, especially this last game. Why? Okay, because
was
you
a
have
gift.
the inside scoop.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this has been going on for years.
Yeah.
Did they realize they have 4 quarters to play? It doesn't come down to the last 2 or 3
That's
minutes.
true. That's
I mean,
true.
Elway was notorious for that.
Yes.
But even like this last game, why are we pounding in an entire game within 2 or 3 minutes?
I know. I think they just got stubborn and wanted to run what they wanted to run. And then Coach Payton seems to be the right guy for the job. And so it's finally like, let's get back to aggressive football. And then, turned around the fourth quarter. And that was a fun game. I was not expecting that. And one of the fun things we do I'm a family of 4 boys, all Broncos fans. My dad, the only thing we all agree on, we're all over the country now, is the Broncos. So we do an away game trip every year and visit all the different cities.
Oh, cool.
So
That's awesome.
we were all texting, me and my brothers, back and forth, and we went to Philly 3 years ago when they got absolutely destroyed. So we were jealous that this wasn't the game when we went to, because it was the other way around. Broncos got killed.
Right.
And Philly fans are unique, and so it was. We had a lot of other. It wasn't raising the flipping bar. It was the different F word in Philly. So
oh,
Right.
definitely. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was fun.
I was so glad to beat them.
And it was awesome.
That was a good moment. That's why I was screaming at the TV, because I was like, beat the tarnation out of these
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Super Bowl
exactly.
champs, my foot.
I know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool. I'm glad that helped, and you can speak the lingo.
Yeah.
So speaking, go ahead.
No, I was actually curious then. I mean, you had your dream job, you're doing
Yeah.
all of this with the football. And then what made you switch over to real estate investing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Most people are like, "Wait, you got your dream job and it wasn't what you ended up doing?" And it was like this perfect storm on a couple levels. One was Ann and I started having a family, and I was working an insane amount, and then she owned a high-end wedding planning company, and so literally we called ourselves two ships passing in the night. It's like we we're back together in January and February, and that was it because the Broncos season ended. If we got lucky, we went to the playoffs and that bumped up, and then her wedding season started, and like we never saw each other.
Right.
So then I transitioned to working in television and did sports marketing through CBS television and sold all the commercials during Broncos games, SEC football, like anything on Channel 4 at the time. And what got me into real estate was one of my fellow coworkers. Shout out to Diane Harris. She's now down in Florida, but she was a phenomenal salesperson. And this was like 2008, 9, and 10. So it was a crappy economy. And I was thinking, she drives a nicer car. She's less stressed out, and I can tell she makes more money than all of us. Like, what are you doing? And she took me to lunch one day, and she's like, and this is 2008. She said, I'm buying rental properties. And I was like, okay, tell me more. I had no idea about real estate. Again, I came from a Wall Street family. My wife Ann will attest, like, I can't fix anything. We almost got divorced over hanging up like a chair rail in our daughter's room. Like it wasn't straight. Like, I mean, it was a hot mess. I'm terrible at it. And so real estate was not in my wheelhouse at all. But perfect timing. My father-in-law had been a big real estate guy and is for a long time. I learned investing from my dad, and I was like, okay, rentals, tell me more. And so a guy that we were buying from was 2008, so there were tons of foreclosures.
Yeah.
And he was buying 30, 40, 50 houses a month at the courthouse steps, fixing them up to rental quality, putting a renter in there, and then saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Turnkey Investor, here you go, buy my rental. So I bought everything that I could afford, was gracious enough to even get a loan from my father-in-law. So I'm like, we're saving as much as we can. It's just taking forever. And I just knew it was a good opportunity. So we bought 15 different properties around Denver from 2008 to 2012 and got in the rental business first that way and just totally fell in love with real estate to start.
So I'm really curious because I was in finance during 2008 during the crash.
Oh, yeah?
The massive crash. And so the crash just happened and you're like, hey, I'm going to do real estate.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense on this thing where it's just like, hey, when the market's low, you buy low.
Yes.
So that's where I can see, yeah, that makes a little bit of sense.
I mean, it's basic. It's like Warren Buffett 101 of buy low, sell high. But you have to have kind of the chops to not only do it, but I think the big thing you have to do is just have a little bit longer time horizon. I think that's what makes our current business of flipping properties challenging on certain levels. But for me, I looked at the numbers and I was like, even though Denver was taking a beating, there were a lot of foreclosures. There were 25, 30% of homes going into foreclosure and selling. I just pulled the data for my podcast this morning that there were at one point over 32,000 houses for sale in Metro Denver.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And post COVID, which we can talk about later, that went down to 1,000 houses for sale. And that's what created this insane bidding war. Now we're kind of back to normal. We're 11 to 12,000. But I was like, I don't think that I can lose, meaning that I knew that if I was buying, we bought our first single family property over by the Fitzsimmons Hospital where the VA is. It definitely rougher part of town in 2008 and 9, but we bought a single family home for $102,000 in Denver. So you kind of couldn't lose because it cash flowed right out of the gate. I managed them myself and we got into the business and just bought everything we could. And it's obviously gone crazy with property values and stuff. So it worked to buy low, and we sold not high, but we sold at the medium point. And then I bought apartment buildings out of state and did a couple different things. But it's just having that fortitude to not say, "Ooh, I have to sell it next year," and you usually be okay.
So when you started all of this is when Elevation kind of began. Okay. And on your website, I was looking at it.
Yeah.
And you even kind of mentioned, you said, there's a difference between property redevelopment. You have redevelopment versus fix and flips.
Yeah.
So, because in my mind, those two are kind of the same thing.
Yes.
What is the difference of that?
Yeah. So the difference is it's twofold. It's me just being, I guess, there's a lot of bad investors out there. I guess I'll put it that way. And people obviously are called flippers. Like you are flipping a property, meaning you're buying it. It's usually pretty beat up and distressed. You're fixing it up and you're reselling it.
Right.
But not only when we first got in the rental business, but especially when things were crazy in 2000 to 2002, with our boom in the housing market locally, there was a lot of bad investors that just literally covered up problems, put the house back on the market, and people bought crappy properties. So we like to say property redevelopment, because we really try to uncover what's going on, fix everything that we can, build in reasonable profit margins, and truly bring a property back to life. The other thing is we don't do new builds, we don't do scrapes, so it is really just like taking the old beautiful bones of a house and breathing new life back into it and redeveloping it and selling it instead of just kind of that quick flip. Don't get me wrong, we do stuff quickly because we have good contractors and project managers, but it was just this like bad connotation with flipping. But the only bummer is that when people search property redevelopment, that's like the worst SEO term there is. So we still put fix and flip, and we put the term because everybody knows flipping properties and HGTV and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I don't love the term, but it's great for SEO. But yeah, we try to say property redevelopment. So thank you for bringing it up that way.
Yeah, of course. It is interesting. We have, definitely we talk to a lot of different contractors and roofers, and there were definitely different years when they were made better versus, and I guess I have concern now because there's such an influx of people coming into Colorado, how quickly the new builds are coming in.
Yeah.
I'm kind of holding my breath to see, they don't make anything like they used to,
No.
right? Like back in now it's all Fisher Price, and back in the day it was really durable stuff. And now you kind of go,
You can order put together homes on Amazon.
Yeah.
you can at Home Depot.
know?
You literally can
Yeah.
order a home.
Exactly.
Yeah. True.
You mentioned homes. Do you also do townhomes? Do you do condos? Are you doing anything in the commercial space as well?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we do primarily single family homes, but we've done many condos, we've done many townhomes, we've done small apartment buildings, we've renovated fourplexes, duplexes up to 8 units. I sold all my rentals in Denver in 2015 and 16, and then we bought apartments in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
So we've actually flipped apartment communities of 26 units, 24 units, 56 units. So
Wow.
we've done that. And then you guys talked about my lovely wife, Ann. We've redeveloped that property. So we own a co-work space on South Broadway called the Broadway Collective, and took that down to the studs and fixed that back up. So I like to say small commercial, single family. The current condo and townhome market now is not great. So unless it's like a screamingly good deal, we're just probably for the next year or so not focusing too much on condos and townhomes.
Okay.
Plus HOAs are really expensive. The monthly fee is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
In most communities. And so we kind of primarily focus on single families when we're doing our redevelopment.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So you are going outside of Colorado. Are there certain areas in Colorado that you are really looking for?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything along the Front Range. We've done stuff in Colorado Springs. We've done every surrounding city, think of like a 50-mile radius. We've done properties everywhere in Metro Denver. We've got clients now. We'll also do consulting where we teach people how to flip, or we flip for them if they're the capital partner. So we've got projects going in Boulder right now. Really, the only thing I haven't done for a long time is Fort Collins. I did one house up in Fort Collins right when I very first got started, full time in 2015. So we kind of haven't dipped our toe there or Greeley, but pretty much everything kind of along the Front Range will hit for our core business.
Okay. Well, you mentioned, I was curious for those that are listening and watching, like who should be contacting you? You had mentioned, I love the education piece.
Yeah.
We harp on that all of the time. Because to me, it sounds daunting, right? If someone said, I'm going to go fix and flip, I wouldn't even know where to begin, right?
Sure.
Like how much capital do I need? Now I need to know my roofers and where do I get the wood from and et cetera, et cetera. So who needs to reach out to you?
Yeah, we serve a couple different segments of the marketplace. We served sellers direct, meaning we are contacting people that want to sell their properties, and we kind of have the best of both worlds in that I have a real estate division and team at Elevation of licensed real estate professionals. They're all really, really great rock stars in the investment world. Of course, they can do traditional real estate, but there's a lot of great traditional real estate people out there, so we really focus on investment properties.
Okay.
But then I'm not licensed as a real estate agent, and so we can buy people's house for cash. We can have them in horrific shape. Our record number of properties, or excuse me, dumpsters for a property is 17 dumpsters on one single family house. Like it was hoarder house to the max.
God.
It was crazy. So like we can handle mold, we can handle asbestos, we can handle structural problems. Like we've done all of those really, really crazy things. So all people wanting to sell for any reason can work directly with us, and you don't have to
Okay.
pay commissions or closing costs or fix anything or do whatever. People then are real estate agents can still work with us. We work a ton with agents, and they can then bring their homes that need a lot of love and aren't great to just to throw on the market, and sell traditionally. So we work with agents, and they get to earn their commission, and then we don't have to take a commission that you would typically pay a buyer's agent. We also work with other agents who want to be investors, who are investors, so they can be a part of our team. And then the last one is the education piece. So we have multiple education venues. One is called the Elevation Academy, that we can talk about whenever you guys want, where we teach people how to flip from start to finish. And I've got free classes. I've got the podcast. So like, I didn't piece it together until I had my business coach weave this all together, but I've always actually loved teaching. I was a TA in college and graduate school. I've coached my kids in sports and then done education. So I love that part of it. We always want to be doing. I always was bothered by professors that taught theory but never like did the thing, So we will always do the thing. We always do business, but I still love teaching and training and educating.
That's cool. Boy, you're very diverse. I love that.
Thanks.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the elevation portion of it.
Yeah, okay.
Of the education piece, if you want.
Sure.
So you said that there's free classes and of course your podcast.
Yes.
Please, for those, again, it is Raise the Flipping Bar. Go watch this podcast. It's hilarious and super educational.
Thank you.
So how can people sign up
Yeah.
for the classes and get involved that way?
Yeah, so they can jump on our website, which again is just elevationinvest.com, and we've got a whole section dedicated towards our education division. So the Elevation Academy is a training program that we started actually right during COVID. I had the worst idea ever of, let's do in-person training, and then COVID hit. So, pivot the business model. So it took us a little longer to get off the ground than we thought, but we've done that now 10 different times, and we do it roughly 3 times a year.
Okay.
So it's a super in-depth one-day training where we teach people how to find properties, how to analyze properties, really, really deep into the actual project management. We nerd out. We actually have 107 steps of what we do to flip a property.
Wow.
And it's all hosted on software called monday.com. So we kind of have our own custom software. And then working with contractors and then really, really polishing it so that you don't miss the final details to sell it effectively on the back end. So it is a 9-hour, super intense drinking from a fire hose day. People that are novices and rookies get a ton out of it. They usually come back and say, that was great, but can I get more help? And then we consult and we can train people one-on-one. Or people are experienced and they say, oh my gosh, I'm really good at what I do, but I'm glad because I learned these 3 great things, met these 2 amazing people, and then they tap into our contractor network and get first dibs at our off-market deals.
Awesome.
So you can kind of get any flavor that you want, whether you're experienced, inexperienced, agent, investor, or contractor. Those are kind of our niches for the Elevation Academy.
Awesome. With the education piece for those that might be looking to flip themselves versus having you all help and flip it for them.
Yeah.
Because how much expendable income, and I know that is dependent largely on what you want to go buy.
Sure. Good point.
So let's say in Highlands Ranch area or like Lone Tree area.
Yeah.
For a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Again, I'm very general here.
Yeah, sure.
But is there a certain percentage that people probably need to have if they want to do that?
Yeah, I think the nice way we can kind of frame it is if you want to flip in Denver, in most cities, and kind of focus on the median home price, which for us right now just is right under $600,000, or normally fixed up, you're pushing $700 to $750. Okay. So if you're selling something that's fixed up and it's $750 or less, that gets a lot of those pockets. Like maybe not Lone Tree per se, because there's some nice parts of Lone Tree, but Highlands Ranch, Littleton, Englewood, Arvada, Castle Rock, the whole 9. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can either be pretty wealthy and have that cash sitting in the bank, or you can have a rich aunt or uncle that you be really nice to and borrow their money and pay them a nice return. But the reality of the way most of our clients get started is by actually borrowing either private or hard money. And what that is we've got great relationships with partners that lend money to investors. The more experienced you are, the better rates that you'll get. But essentially, you have to be prepared to come up with between 10 and 20% of however much you spend to buy it, however much you spend to rehab it, and then some reserves.
Okay.
And then they'll loan you the other 70, 80, 90% sometimes.
Okay.
And so you can really do most projects unless they're over 700, 800 grand
Okay.
for having about 150 to $200,000 of actual your money or your capital
Okay.
to flip a property.
Nice.
So you don't have to have everything like upfront sitting cash liquid in the bank.
On average, what is your return after that?
Yeah. So there's two ways to look at it. If you use hard money, meaning again, you're borrowing from somebody else, let's just keep the math super simple. Let's say you're bringing 20% of your own money to the deal and your lending partner's bringing 80%. It actually really drastically increases what we call, or what is called, your cash on cash return, meaning the actual cash you're bringing to the deal. So keep the math simple. Let's say that you put $100,000 into a deal and you make a $50,000 net profit after all the expenses have been paid. So you've paid your lender back, you've paid for title insurance, you've paid your closing costs, your real estate agents, your interest, the whole nine, and you've got $50,000 of actual net profit left. That's actually a 50% return on your money.
Okay.
So you can make crazy good returns. If you do that 3 times in a year, you can make 150% of your money. I always lean back to my finance days too, like newsflash, like there is risk. So I want people to know that. And we've lost money on deals before, so you can obviously lose money. But yeah, I mean, kind of your classic sports guy analogy, a double, if you will. You hit a double right in the center field. Yeah, you're looking at a $50,000 to $60,000 profit. You can do them in 4 to 6 months. And risk, about 200 grand of your own money. That can be your return. If you were doing it all in cash and it's an ROI, most people try to shoot for about a 12 to 15% ROI if it's their actual cash.
Okay. Thank you for saying 4 to 6 months. I was kind of curious with the time frame with your quote unquote average single family home in Denver.
Yeah.
So that's how long it takes to clean it, gut it, and spruce it up.
Spruce it up,
is
yeah,
that
and then sell it
and
too.
selling it.
And then
Are
sell it.
you're including that in the 4 to 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
our
pretty quick
average.
turnaround.
2 years ago, our average was 97 days close to close, meaning buy it, fix it up, put it on the market, sell it. That has definitely gone up. Stuff is sitting on the market. An average median days on market is right around 40. Again, that's every price point. We try to price our stuff obviously really effectively, so it sells in normally about 2 weeks. 2 years ago, it would sell in 2 hours. So like it's the crazy
Exactly.
gambit of like
Yeah.
super fast, the good old days versus now. But yeah, I mean, I think conservatively, you want to estimate about 6 months. People that have experience are in the 3 to 4 month range for
Okay.
a classic normal deal.
I find this fascinating. My mom and I teetered on getting into this, and
Oh, okay.
I've gone to a seminar before. I mean, this was years ago. I was in the mortgage industry and the finance industry. That's where
nice.
Josh and I met. But I was in the mortgage industry up until 2008 when
wow.
things hit the fan.
Yeah.
But you were really smart. I got out when you got in.
Yeah.
Because I did. But that's
Yeah.
when my sports journey started. So it's kind of interesting. We
Oh,
missed each
fun.
other a bit.
Yeah.
This is super fascinating to me for those that are looking to fix and flip.
Right.
Especially the education piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think when people just jump into it
Yeah.
with no experience, no knowledge, no mentor,
Mm-hmm.
to me, I mean, well, that's just kind of bar for life, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe talk to someone about it before
Yeah.
you're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I'm
you
really
start
curious.
fixing
Like
something.
after
Yeah.
the crash, you go to your wife. She's just like, I want to get into real estate and fix some flips. How did? She's like, okay, let's sounds good.
Yeah, I was really lucky, and it was because of Ann's dad, Carl, had been doing, or still does real estate to this day. So
Okay,
so she grew up in an entrepreneurship family, and she grew up in a real estate
real
investor's
estate,
family.
gotcha.
So I
Yep.
think that was totally the move. Had it been classic corporate life or whatever, no, there's no way. But she saw that. Not to say that I was unhappy, but I was working great corporate jobs, but I also foresaw the golden handcuffs, and people were making really good money, but not life-changing money or not your own thing. And so what tipped me off was one year the CEO of CBS television was like number 3 on the list of making the most and then the employees making the least. And they'd cut our commissions for like the 5th straight year, even though we had sales records. And I'm like, I'm no rocket scientist, but this is not going the right direction. Let's just double down. And I was in my mid 30s. I'm like, let's go all in. And it's paid off. And there's been some, challenges along the way, but we wouldn't have it any other way. So more importantly, just supporting spouse is very, very helpful.
No, I totally agree. To have support, especially when you take the leap to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
This is my 4th endeavor to help. And
oh, nice.
Man, you have to hang on some days. And we eat a lot of ramen noodles, and that's okay.
Yep.
And it is because you see, like you said, it is the long game.
Yeah.
When a lot of people are dropping out, you stay in.
Yes.
And it's I say this phrase a lot, but it's not about the peaks, it's about the valleys. And I love that you and Ann make such a great team. And I love hearing about your kids, and it sounds like they're really flourishing and doing all the right stuff. So it's good to have the good business mind entrepreneur and then have the family unit to help and back with that.
Yeah, thank you.
That's very cool.
You alluded a little earlier about today's real estate market and how you mentioned it's kind of similar to right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
How is that?
Yeah, it's just perfect timing because we've got a great person on our staff. His name's Rick, and he runs all of our transactions. And then I didn't really mention it, but we also deal with institutions and hedge funds. So because of my finance background, we work with the Wall Street essentially and help them acquire rental properties on their behalf in the Denver market and help in a couple of their markets too. So we pulled all this data, so it's super current. And obviously there's clickbait out there. There's media scare tactics of traditional mainstream media of what's going on. But the reality is, as we looked at it, and granted, it's not great. There are more homes for sale. They are taking longer to sell, but we're not in a crash. I think we're in a minor correction. And so I went back and looked at 2019, and there were just under 10,000 homes for sale all across Metro Denver in 2019. Fast forward to the pandemic, where January of 2020, we hit 1,000 homes for sale at every price point because everybody pulled their house off the market. And then that huge influx came of people that wanting to buy. And that's why it created this crazy run up. So we're just kind of pendulum swinging back to the other side. There are a lot of similarities to 2019, which I think is the last normal, healthy, non-pandemic real estate year, bookended with the last 3 years that have been really challenging. I mean, definitely, like I said, every deal became a home run. We usually shoot for doubles, and we've had a couple strikeouts on a couple of our deals too. So it's just, to your point, Sarah, weathering the storm. But the data shows that it's close to 2019, which is what they call a balanced market. Good amount of sellers, good amount of buyers. Don't have to usually rush out and buy a home in the first weekend. I don't want to sit for 6 months either, but we're somewhere in the middle.
Right, exactly. And that's what we want, a balanced market. I remember talking with people where they were looking for a house and they just could not do it because once you put in an offer, there's 4 other offers.
Yes.
And it was just absolute insanity. So I like hearing that it's kind of balanced.
Yeah, smoothing out.
That.
Yeah. What a novel concept.
Right, shocker.
And I know, so we've talked a lot about the property redevelopment, right? The fix and flip. But you also do partnership flip, wholesale real estate, and institutional investor brokerage, SFR.
Yeah.
I'm curious, the partnership flip, can you go into more detail about that?
Yeah, so that's something that stemmed from, we work a lot with, used to be called the senior citizen contingent of people. Now kind of the more appropriate term is older adult, but think of grandma and grandpa that have a beautiful home. It's usually just super dated, but kind of my cheesy joke is you go down and inspect their furnace and it is to the day every year that it's gotten service for 17 straight years. So it's been lovingly taken care of.
Yep.
But it just is 1986 on the finishes. So it was born from talking to adult children, people 35 to 65, mom and dad are either passing away, unfortunately, or moving to assisted living or their next phase of life. And they had equity in the house or it's paid outright or whatever. And they're like, well, the neighbor across the street sold for this huge number. And we'd say, well, sure, but it's completely fixed up.
Right.
And there was this big disconnect. And so we lost on a couple deals. And I'm like, here's my cash number. If you want to sell, I'd love to buy it. They could list it traditionally, but they kind of, got beat up. We were doing this in 2015 and 16. So partnership flip is essentially the client brings the home or has the home. They continue to remain on ownership of the home. We do have an LLC, so we are essentially joint members, so I don't get completely cut out of the deal. But my company funds all the renovations, so they don't have to come out of pocket to do any renovations. The most important thing is we know what the wide buying audience wants. So it's not what sister's taste is to have, hot pink tile in, the master shower or whatever, or it's not brother's opinion of creating this giant 7-car garage that's not going to bring more value. So it's really just knowing how to fix it up appropriately, how to do it for less than they could ever get it done themselves, doing the heavy lifting and the work on their own. And then we create all this extra equity. And then when we go to sell, family gets their original price back. I get reimbursed our renovation expenses, and we split the extra profit that we generate, typically 50-50 in most circumstances. And then my team of agents who are really savvy at selling fixed up homes do it for a discount. So we put some more money in all of our pockets. And so we partner with the homeowner, we flip for them. And we don't get we probably get people 15% of the time that want to go that route.
Okay.
It doesn't happen all the time because it's extra time. There's a little bit of risk involved, but a lot of times it's the perfect solution for aging adults and people that own rental properties that are out of state. And they're like, yeah, I could swing an extra 4 months and make an extra 50 or 60 grand and do no work. It's really, really helpful. So yeah, partnership flip has been really fun, and we've been doing it for 10 years.
Oh, 10 years. Okay. I love that you do that. There are so many people. I mean, it's the first time I've ever been called the sandwich generation. I actually didn't understand that. So we're raising kids, and then our older adults.
Yes.
Is what I'm going to start calling my parents instead of, hey, you old man.
Family, that's off limits. You can say whatever you want, but family.
He knows.
But
I call
else.
my dad old man all the time.
Yeah.
So older adults, I love that. And it is a lot of times we are, especially in today's market, we quote unquote inherit or lovingly get whatever they don't want anymore.
Right.
So it's like, now what? So it's nice that you will partner with them because the norm and average person doesn't know how to flip. We don't even know where to start. So I love that you can partner with homeowners and everyone comes out ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and it's been fun. And we'll do that with other real estate agents too, because we know a lot of people have connections to real estate agents. And that's fine. We're not trying to cut those folks out of the deal either. We can be, again, kind of that middle person or middle group, get all the heavy lifting done and split that profit as long as they're experienced. Right. And I'm not handing this beautiful product over to a person who sold one house. Right. But other than that, yeah, we can partner with agents, without agents, with homeowners, the whole nine. It's been fun. We've done it on small apartment buildings even too. Okay. So a couple different options.
Nice.
I don't see why someone would not do that. I mean, because in my mind, if you're a homeowner and you're looking at maybe selling your house or something like that, and it's a little bit dated, you don't want to spend all of your own money to fix it all up, gamble, and then not come out on it. So partnering with somebody, that just seems like a no-brainer.
If you want to say that again very slowly, and then I'll just put it on my website, that would be great. No, I think Josh, it's a good point. Like, it really is a no-brainer for a lot of people. The two things that kind of blow up the deal, if you will, is if somebody doesn't have some place to go. If they want to try to live through a renovation, that's pretty rough. And most of our contractors will actually, mostly from a liability perspective, they'll be like, no, we won't do that. Right. So that's really one hurdle. Or the second hurdle is time. If they really do kind of need that money right away, and this is deferring it 4 to 6 months, that's kind of the other time it falls apart. But really, it should come of age and will continue to do so with our aging population. It's more of these houses that are going to be well loved, but now 40 years dated, 50 years dated. And in this market, that dated product does not do well because the end now new buyer, the next generation, A, doesn't have the trade skills to do it themselves, usually, or B, they get retail pricing. So they're like, sure, I'll renovate your house and it's 300 grand. Those numbers don't work versus we could do it for half. So I think it's going in the right direction, but people don't do it all the time. So it's an option.
Are there any projects that are too small for you to partner up with? Or are these more bigger scope, like redoing an entire kitchen or a roof? Are there smaller, kind of more cosmetics? Would you still partner in that regard?
We totally would. And that actually brings up probably a good way of it being a challenge. Yeah, we will do, it makes perfect sense mathematically and reasonably to do the big full remodels. That's obviously simple that we just described. Yeah, we will totally do some strategic cosmetic upgrades, especially with our contacts. So if we can just go in and crank out a kitchen or crank out a primary bathroom, or we've had a lot of people where our last couple of properties, the house is really decent. We walk in and we're like, why are we here? And then you get to one bathroom that's just torn up for whatever reason. Yeah, we can 100% put that back together, carpet, paint, the whole nine.
Okay.
The ones that make it challenging, because then we don't have to spend a ton of our money. I don't need this giant extra return, or my agents can sell it on the back end. The tough ones are the ones where you're like, well, I still have to spend $100,000 of my money, but there's only data that shows that maybe we can sell it for an extra $50,000.
Right.
So for splitting and going 25 and 25,
Right.
that's kind of a lot of risk for them.
Right.
That's a lot of risk for me. So that middle kind of mathematically just for both parties doesn't usually work, but
Right.
the heavy lifts and the cosmetics, yeah, it totally works.
Will you consult someone about that? Like what you just said here to say, hey, really, it doesn't make financial sense. Like
Yes.
maybe you will. Okay.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and we actually show them a spreadsheet. When we walk and talk with sellers, we give them 3 options. We say we can buy your house for cash, we can do the partnership flip, or we can list it. And we'll just say, what are your goals? What's your timeline? And really 90% of the time, our interests align. Like I'm not going to give somebody, if their house is in good shape, I'm not going to give them an offer that's less than $150,000 if we can list it and make them good money.
Right.
Right.
Conversely, I'm not going to invest 150 grand for us each to maybe make 10.
Right.
So yeah, we just, to me, I'm a math guy. Like the
Of
math
course.
talks, and then we can back with emotion.
I'm 100% with you. I'm not the creative one. I am definitely the math person,
Yeah.
and I mean, I actually kind of suck at math, but I am like big picture. I
Philosophical
get it.
math.
Well, it is. You
Yeah.
always look at your ROI, right? So I mean, that just makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
I love it. So for those that are listening, and just for my own personal, because I'm gonna hire you.
Yeah,
That's what's
done.
gonna
Okay.
happen.
Love it.
So people can put up their own money. You all can put up your money. People can go out and loan from different parties, bank. And for those that are saying, hey, I have extra capital
Yeah.
and want to be investors, can they, I assume, put up their own money? How do they then get their return?
Yeah, so we actually have 2 really high net worth individuals that we're doing just that for right now.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they are fronting the purchase of the house. They're fronting all of the renovation money. And then we do typically we're actually helping them find the deals because they don't have time. They're not in the industry. They just have capital to put to work. So my team will find great deals, mostly off market. I mean, we do have agents that write offers on market, but ideally we'll find the deal. They will fund the deal. We will charge a project management fee to run everything, and then a very small portion of the upside in a profit split where they keep the vast majority of the profit. And then on the backside, my real estate agents will sell it for a discount on commissions.
Okay.
So we can run everything for them, and they literally can be as involved or uninvolved as they want. We just had one client where, I mean, mega wealthy, and he was in the country of Turkey for October, and he didn't want to be bothered. So we're like, here's the Google Drive, here's the company cam reports. We have AI reports that we document everything for project management. And we could tell he never even clicked and looked. And he's like, just tell me when it's done and send me the money. So
I like that.
I know. I kind of aspire to that. Like, it sounds pretty awesome.
No, exactly, right?
so-
I don't need to know. Just write me a check.
Yeah,
It'll be
just
great.
write me a check. So we can do that. Or we have clients that definitely want to be more involved. Yeah. And we've done deals before, and they earn, again, probably 90% of the reinvestment. Or the profit. And then we've got other people that want to just earn like a 10% return. And we just started this, and I'm a big proponent of like testing it on myself first before we do it anywhere else. But if people have money in a old 401k or old retirement plan, they can put into a self-directed plan, and then they can use that money and loan it to people like us. So we then use the 20% that we talked about, partnering that up with a hard money lender, and we can then pay them back 10% return on their investment. So they could take like their $100,000, put it to work, earn 10%, put it back on their retirement account, and then rinse and repeat.
Right.
So we do that when we kind of find more deals than we have the money for, which has been kind of evolving over the last 3 or 4 years. So we'll do deals ourselves. We'll do deals with clients. They can do all the investment. They can do a little investment. They can do the retirement investment. So try to be nimble.
I like it. I'm hiring you.
Yeah.
And it's being recorded, so you have proof.
Yay, thank you. Okay.
We're going to figure this out.
I love it.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit actually about your podcast. Here. So it's weekly, correct?
It is weekly. Mm-hmm.
Weekly podcast, Raising the Flippin' Bar.
Yeah.
I never put a G at the end of that.
Yeah, I like it. It's better.
And you can find this at fixandflip.show. www.fixandflip.show. Tell us about the podcast. Tell us about what people would expect when tuning in.
Yeah, so it was born from, I was very fortunate to have another great relationship with an investor that focused primarily on rental properties. And he's great at helping people find rentals. It was a little easier when the interest rates were a little bit lower. But he said a lot of our clientele still is interested in flipping. And so do you want to do kind of a mini series on my show? Shout out to Chris Lopez. He's got a great podcast of Denver real estate investing. So I did an 8-part mini series with Chris and realized I really like this. And so took a little hiatus, tried to figure it out on my own. And then, we launched Raising the Flipping Bar 3 years ago and do it, actually now record out of our own studio at the Broadway Collective. So we've got a podcast studio, which is super fun. And it is I try to make it like the love child of about 10 different podcasts that I really like. And so the way I say it is it's 75% hardcore real estate investing and investments and 25% business strategy and personal development. Because I feel like there's a gap there. There's great ones in all those different buckets, but you got to have the mental fortitude to do this. You got to know how to pick yourself up. You got to know how to motivate yourself. And then there's the winging it component to flipping houses where people are like, oh, this is pretty and this looks good. And I watched HGTV and like, there's not the strategic business.
Right.
So I try to blend like running a business and with really tactical advice on investing in real estate and through the property redevelopment lens. And that's kind of what it was born from. And so, we do it every week and try to give people as much value as possible and pull back the curtain. That's the thing that bothers me about these quote unquote gurus and educators and trainers. They only talk to you about their home runs. They don't tell you that, that you've lost money. Like I had a 6-figure loss on a flip once in Sloan's Lake, and it was like the most beautiful house. You had mountain views out of one end, lake views out of the other, and we just got caught at the wrong time. Denver County took 6 more months to do permits. We found asbestos. It would have been the best TV episode. Everything that could have gone wrong did.
Here's what, right?
It was terrible, and I lost a lot of money, and I'd say that. That's the way you need to be truthful with people. Now, we're very lucky that, we're still batting about 95% of profit to non-profitable ones. But you got to be open and honest, and we talk about that on the podcast.
For sure. There's so many unknowns in life. And I love that I think you said the word pivot a couple times and to be flexible completely.
Yeah.
That's what I want people to understand is that's why when stuff hits the fan, it's real.
Yes.
And to talk about your wins and losses. And I agree. We have a lot of musicians are always my go-to.
Yeah.
When we have our interviews with musicians, they only see, hey, you just released this beautiful album. They're like, you haven't seen the last 30 years of my life of what I've had to do to get here. So it is I love that you have that component too, because it's so shiny and pretty.
Yes.
And great. And it's great to obviously win money, and you learn so much when stuff is hard.
Right.
Those are the moments that, when you do lose money, and that's the reality of the world.
Yes.
Is sometimes, especially when remove the cover, it's like, oh, this has asbestos, or holy crap, no, we need a new roof, and the foundation is actually sinking in the middle. So I mean, and that's stuff that you don't always know about.
No, you can be as cautious as you want. You can bring in structural engineers, but sometimes, to your point, just it hits the fan sometimes. You just got to be prepared and roll through it. So we pull back the curtain on, talking about great stuff and being positive, but there's some rough days sometimes.
For sure. Well, I love what you're doing, and you have a good head on your shoulders too.
Thank you.
You're married to a rock star, and you have amazing kiddos.
Thank you.
Do you want to geek out on your kids real quick?
I will. I'm sure they're listening and watching, and because they love to tune in when mom and dad are doing stuff. But no, I'm really, really fortunate that again I come from finance family, and then on my wife's side entrepreneurship family. And so we're just trying to teach our kids. We're at an interesting inflection point where I have a sophomore in college at Western Washington. And he's our son, Wes. And then I have 2 daughters. One is a senior in high school and a junior in high school. And college as a value proposition, I guess is the way to say it, is very, very interesting to me. And I'm the guy that has an MBA. And I didn't, I went to decent schools, but like I didn't go to Harvard or anything, but I'm so hyper focused on challenging the kids, not that they have to be entrepreneurs, but they have to have an entrepreneurial mindset, and they have to be creative problem solvers, and they have to be helpful, and then they have to be super hardworking. And then I don't care what they do. But I think we're in an interesting point where it's like, we've got some friends and they're graduating with major 6 figures worth of debt, and then their kids now still living in their basement. And, we used to promote, oh, you should go be a coder or an engineer. That doesn't always pay off. So like we're in a weird point now where I'm just trying to be as truthful with the kids as possible and keep their eyes open to whatever they're passionate about, but you also got to pay the bills too.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Completely.
I don't know. We're in a cool spot, but like a weird spot, I think, in transition.
I totally agree. It's different conversations than, again, my kiddo is younger. He's 6, but I'm already in the throes of those conversations and thinking about it. Because for me, and I think, Josh, you can attest to this too, is it wasn't if you're going to college, it was you're going to college.
Yes.
And this is the next step.
Yeah, there
It
wasn't an option, really. I mean,
No.
everybody went to college.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now there's trade schools, and like you said, it's what is your ROI at the end of the game? Like, are you going to be, no knock on this profession, but if you want to be a yoga instructor, that's awesome. Do you need to go to Harvard for 4 years? If that's really your passion. And if you know it, and if you are one of those lucky kids that knows maybe early on at 15, 16, 17, like, no, I want to be an electrician.
Yes.
I know that that's what I want to do. And so maybe college isn't the right step. So
And you work with a lot of trades. I mean, that's one thing, like, if I had a kid, I'd be like, look into the trades, see if it's something that interests you, because, I mean, you can be making great money in a short amount of time.
Yeah, you really can. The one plug that I would actually love to give is a program that we support. So our kids go to Littleton Public Schools, and right on South Broadway, it's called the Epic Campus.
Yeah.
And Epic is phenomenal for exactly that. They offer kids 5 different pathways to get into the career world, and it doesn't have to be through college, or it could be start there and go to college. And one of the big pathways, we support the real estate pathway and the entrepreneurship pathway. But yeah, these 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds are doing a year's worth of study, getting their real estate license. They can be licensed real estate agents. They can be contractors. They can work in the trades, and they don't have to go to college. They come out OSHA certified. They work on site. They do cybersecurity. They do entrepreneurship. So it's just, and then they get college credit. It's like our youngest daughter, who's a junior, she'll, and again, not to take away from people that are taking AP classes or whatever else, that's fine. But our daughter will have a year of college under her belt for credits of real world experience because she wants to go into nursing. And it'll be all the medical training that she'll graduate with a CNA as a senior in high school. So like, just shout out to Epic and all the Littleton schools that are just pushing this. And it's 2 years in the making. It just got launched 2 years ago, but like, we're super passionate about that and letting people look at that.
That is so cool. I didn't know you all were connected. We actually just got connected with Epic Campus.
Oh, no way.
We're meeting with them in the next couple days. So
Good.
We love what they're doing.
Yeah.
We're a huge component of education, community. We're also partnered with Inglewood Schools and just getting
fun.
them, to educate the kids in a very different pathways.
Yes.
And to follow their mission and passion, and because it's not always this cookie cutter anymore.
Right.
And it's, to me, it's changed pretty quickly, right? Even 2 generations, 3 generations ago. Now we're in a very different atmosphere where kids and older adults are doing different things.
Good job.
I'm gonna have to adopt that.
I know,
Older
it
adults.
doesn't roll off the tongue. So yeah.
I still am gonna call him my old man.
I'm just going to call them fogies.
Yeah.
Movies, exactly.
Yeah,
Older
exactly.
adults. We're older adults now.
I know, that's the
let's
scary
be real.
part.
Like,
Yeah.
we're in that. So
Yeah.
that's cool. I'm so glad that you have all these community partnerships and doing the educational piece is super cool.
Yeah, it's been really important. And I think especially with the evolution of AI, that's something we're trying to be on the front end of too, just that it's going to, I hate to say it's going to replace certain jobs, but it will. I think
It already is.
You're right. It already has. So if you don't know how to use it in all these different capacities, and you don't have to be a programmer, you could be, the plumber who wants to advance their career and learn how to do their trade a little bit better. So it's it's figuring all that out and looping AI into it. And that's something that, again, my kids roll their eyes, but I'm like, you got to figure this out.
For sure.
Even when you're going to college, because you don't want to, our son, quick little sidebar, is studying psychology and he wants to be a therapist. And the kind of the crazy ongoing joke on their campus is if it's a computer science or certain engineering degrees or like highly coveted degrees, they say, well, what coffee shop are you going to work at? And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? because AI can accelerate so many things. So it's like that layup coder job, that's toast.
Right.
You know, so it's just being smart about what you want to study and what your parents might be paying for college for. So,
Completely. It's kind of
Exactly.
a necessary evil. It's how I feel about social media. It is here to stay.
Yep.
AI is here to stay. So if you can get ahead of the game and at least educate yourself on AI, even though it is unfortunate because I love the human touch, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to have the emotional component, and I hope that that doesn't go away. That is my biggest concern.
Yeah, me too.
But it is here, and it's
That's up to everybody if that goes away in your world. I mean, I think. But no matter what, AI is coming. Don't try to fight it.
Yeah.
Try to
Right.
work with it.
and try and learn about
Yeah,
it too.
exactly.
And it can be a tool that can help you in your business and your personal life.
Yeah.
Just use it responsibly, like everything else
Yeah,
on
exactly.
planet Earth.
Yep.
Everything in moderation is what I tell my 6-year-old.
Yeah, 100%.
This is so amazing, man. I can't wait to work with you.
Thank you. Me too.
I've never actually announced that type of partnership during an interview.
It's released to the world.
So it is released to the world.
Thank you,
This
Sarah.
is so cool. No, Derek, you're amazing. And
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
very much.
having me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there
It's super fun.
anything else? I know I love the secret sauce. We didn't even go into that. It's not so secret.
Yeah, our web developer had kind of a cool thing when we were rebranding our website and doing different stuff. And he's like, let's put a quote for each person on there. And one of the quotes, it just came out in our kind of strategy session, is our secret sauce is that it's actually not secret. And by that, I mean that there isn't a magic potion to what we do in being successful. We even teach people. Most people are like, wait, you're teaching people how to flip, aren't you teaching your competitors? And we have been far more profitable with people that have been through the Elevation Academy, and even multiple clients that have actually quit 6-figure corporate jobs because they're now doing our business, and then we do deals together.
Right.
So the secret sauce is that it's actually not that secret. We'll share everything that we do, but you have to put in the work and do the thing. So not every person will follow all 107 steps of our system, but we will. And so 9 times out of 10, we will win if we really were in competition, even though I don't see us as competition. So it's just do the thing and do it really hard and do it for a long time. And then you'll look like an overnight success. But to your point earlier, it probably took me 20 years to get here and 37 stumbles along the way or whatever. So it's not secret. We're not trying to hide it.
Right.
But you just got to, I almost swear, sorry, you got to work really hard and just put your nose to the grindstone and you'll get there. And it's not secret. It's just hard work.
And I bet it's just so rewarding too. I mean, I'm sure there's people that you have taught, that you've mentored, and to watch them successfully, just do their thing
Yeah.
with your training. I
Yeah.
mean, that's got to be so rewarding. Like, this is what we're doing, and I'm not holding anything back.
No, it is. It's super, super cool. Yeah, that's a big component. When somebody goes through the program and they graduate, we say that they're an alumni, part of the alumni group. And then I want all of us to do deals together. I want them to do deals with people in their same class together. Like, we had 2 guys sit side by side, didn't know each other. Now, granted, one was a real estate agent, one was a contractor. So very great skill sets to mesh up, but they've done multiple projects. They made almost 70 grand on their very first project together. They've both done multiple projects. They're both running multiple successful businesses and then doing things together because they just sat at the academy together.
Right.
It's to me, that's about as rewarding as it gets.
Yeah, that's
Completely.
awesome.
Yeah. So again, it's not secret. It's just the sauce.
Yeah. And you have to work hard.
And you have to work hard. Shocker.
Like in
That-
anything.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
people sometimes miss that. Yeah.
Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it. Everybody, check it out. Check out Raising the Flippin' Bar. Fixandflip.show. www.fixandflip.show. Go to Elevation. That's elevationinvest.com. And Derek, thank you very much for coming on in. Absolutely love it. And I know you're going to be talking with Sarah. So
Yeah.
Yes, you will, on many different ways. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, elevationinvest.com, 720-545-0490. You can also email info@elevationinvest.com to get in touch with Derek and his team. Definitely check out Raising the Flipping Bar. It is, I love the beginning, and a shout out to your employee. Very cool. I love the Colorado musicians.
Yes.
Fixandflip.show to go and educate yourself. Because, I mean, man, if you're an investor, if you want to fix and flip, if you just want to be educated, it's all really great stuff.
Definitely. And of course, we're going to have another great interview today at 5:30, so tune in on that. Coming out right after this interview, we have a wonderful afternoon mix of music for you guys, so hopefully you enjoy that. Take good care. You got another, it's only, 2 o'clock? Yeah, that's
we're
halfway
getting
through.
We're getting
through.
through. The weekend is almost here.
Exactly.
Yay.
Thank you very much for tuning in. And do know that if you just caught the end of this, you can rewatch it. It's on all of our social media platforms for at least a month, YouTube forever. So rewatch it and definitely connect. So take care. Have a great afternoon. And we'll catch you at 5:30, everybody.